I think I really need to get one of those little microphones. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm on the floor again, but this time I'm touching grass. And also, if you're gonna say, Sienna, you're wearing the same shirt as the last video, I don't want to hear it. The last video was so long ago. It has been washed, and it's being reworn, because I care about Mother Nature, and I'm at the park right now. It's so nice outside. This is very spontaneous. I just sat down and I was like, it's YouTube video time. And it's kind of quiet right now, so I'm trying to capitalize off of this time that I have. I feel like it's gonna get windy again. We'll see. But I just had the best time. Okay, guys? Basically, I work at Starbucks, all right? And there's this woman, she's come in multiple times now. And every time she was wearing this, like, cute cardigan. It'd be different every time. And I was like, oh my gosh, queen, like, I love your cardigan. Like, it's so cute. I love it. And she'd be like, I made it myself, actually. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, teach me. And then she was like, okay, I will. Which I was not expecting. And then she just, like, dropped her phone number. And I was like, oh my god, this, like, 70-year-old woman's gonna teach me how to knit. Like, I'm so excited. And so we were in talks. And then today, she taught me how. I'm no professional or anything. I'll show you what I've accomplished in the, like, half hour that I was knitting. Actually, it's probably a little longer. Okay, well, it's not much. I don't want to be judged, though, okay? She told me I was learning really fast. She was very impressed with me. Don't judge, all right? Anyways, she was the goat. And I was talking to her, and then I was sort of having, like, realizations. Because I've never really, like, sat down and had, like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like most people my age aren't friends with, like, aren't friends with people, like, much older than them. Like, usually you're friends with people around your demographic, and the only people you're speaking to that are older than that are, like, parents, grandparents, relatives, whatever, right? I've never had a friend that was, like, much older than me that were just, like, specifically just friends, you know what I mean? Or, like, even if she's my mentor, like, whatever you want to call it, right? And it was, like, so nice to, like, have a conversation about, like, how do I explain? Okay, let me take it back. Let me take you back to what this video is about. Because you might be thinking, Sienna, why are you just telling us about this random encounter you had with an old woman? Like, no one gives a fuck. And that's so valid. But you're gonna. See, I'm gonna rope you in. Just you wait, with my charm. Basically, her and I had a really good conversation about a few things. But one of the things that I've been thinking about outside of my conversation with her, sorry, the grass is, like, in the camera. One of the things we were talking about is how people need to be okay with being uncomfortable, in the sense that a lot of what we have designed now as humans makes it so that our lives are easier, more comfortable, lazier, if you will, right? Specifically, technology, right? It's like your phone can do so much for you, and it takes a lot of stuff off your hands. AI does the same thing, where it, like, makes so many things more accessible, yes, but also makes you put less effort into it, which then makes you more comfortable, right? But sometimes people get too comfortable in whatever they're doing, whatever they know, whatever they're used to, whatever they're familiar with, that they're limiting themselves from trying new things and experiencing new things and growing as a person. And what her and I were talking about a bit is, first of all, there's a bee. First of all, I was trying knitting for the first time, which was super cool. But I get really stressed out about feeling like I don't know enough, or feeling like I'm not spending my time good enough, or being creative enough, or anything of the sort. Like, I get stressed about it. And I'm not going to say it's good to feel stressed, but I think it's a good thing to think about, because I think a lot of people aren't having those thoughts about, like, what they're doing with their time and how they could be using it instead, and what they should be learning, if that makes any sense. So I get really stressed out, and I'm like, oh, I need to, like, read more, or I need to watch more movies, or I need to learn more songs on guitar, or I need to be creative in these different ways and also be smart, and I need to learn all these new fun facts and these world historical things, and I also need to learn these, like, habits and life hacks and all these things, and I'm like, oh my god, it can feel very overwhelming. But the important part is that a lot of it is uncomfortable, because it's not stuff that I'm familiar with. And I think especially because I live alone, and I live so far away from anyone that I know, other than the people I know here, it's like I'm sort of forced to learn so many things, and I have. Since moving out, like, oh my gosh, I feel like my frontal lobe is already developed. I think I speed tracked it, guys. I think I'm there. No, that's a lie. You can tell. But I think I've learned a lot about, first of all, like, living alone and everything that comes with that, and I talked about it in my last video, but just sort of, like, being an adult in itself, is there's a lot to learn there. But beyond that, I just feel like I'm learning more about myself as a person and as like a human. And it's been freaking awesome. Like, what can I say? But yeah, I've been setting goals for myself a lot when it comes to like reading specifically. That's sort of the thing that gets me the most. I hate the fact that I have a phone addiction, and it's so bad. It's actually like, I was telling this to the lady that I was hanging out with today. My screen time is at least 7 hours a day. That's like absurd. Like, that's 7 hours out of my day. Do you know how long a day is? Oh my gosh, a day's like 12 hours. Sometimes a little more. Sometimes your day's like 17 hours. Wait, no. How long is a day? 7 of that is spent on my phone. I don't know the math. Okay, this is getting confusing. The point is, I'm on my phone a fucking lot. I'm on my phone way too much, an absurd amount even. And I think about all the things I could be doing instead. And I don't want to shame myself for being on my phone too much, because to be fair, it is addicting. But I also, some of the responsibility does fall on me to be able to put myself out there and try different things. So I'm really trying to make it a habit to try different things, and I think knitting will be really good for me, because it's sort of something I can do while I'm watching TV or something, like with my hands, because I think a lot of times scrolling isn't even about what's on the phone. It's just like something to do. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if I could put on music or put on a podcast or something and just knit away, that'd be so much fun. I think knitting's also great because obviously there's a lot to do with like a way to pass the time and like a new skill set, finger dexterity, learning new things, whatever. But I think it's also really good because then I can just make people gifts all the time, and I can teach other people how to knit, and it'll just be like so beautiful. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm a pro at this idea I'm having yet of like trying to put myself out there and learn new things, but I do think that more people need to put in an effort to do that, especially young people, because I'm telling you that everyone is really comfortable now with what they like, and they don't want to put themselves out of their comfort zone for any reason. But I think that a lot of the time you should be out of your comfort zone intentionally. I think that's how you learn and how you gain experience and how you mature and how you become and how you find who you are, essentially. Because even talking to her, I was hanging out with her for like an hour and a half, and even in that little like get together, I felt like I learned so much, and I felt like I don't know, I feel like I considered different perspectives, and like it was so nice to hear from someone who also, she was also talking about her phone usage. Obviously hers is not as bad as mine, but it was so nice to hear about like how this is an issue for her as well, and how she like tries to like garden and put her phone away, and how it's like really a problem for everyone. And I'm like, wow, this is something that like needs to be solved. And obviously we can't just abolish phones, and I don't want to do that anyways because so many of my friends and family live so far away. But I think we should get better at like holding ourselves responsible for how bad our screen time is and like taking it seriously. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's actually not what this video is about. The video idea is about being uncomfortable, right? The other thing that her and I were talking about is like going places alone and how it feels really weird, almost embarrassing, I guess. But like Austin Butler once said, oh my god, see, I knew it was gonna get windy again. Like Austin Butler once said, embarrassment is an underexplored emotion and feeling, or whatever the fuck he said. Actually, I can't quote that, but it's true. And I've been thinking about him saying that like ever since, and I think about this so often. I'm like, you should be uncomfortable, you should be embarrassed, you should feel a little stupid. These are not bad things. Like, yeah, you feel a little dumb. Like, you know how stupid I was feeling when I first tried like knitting for the first time? Like, it was confusing as hell. But now I have new knowledge that I wouldn't have had if I didn't try it in the first place, and I didn't stick to it long enough to learn something. Anyway, so her and I were talking about going places alone and how it feels really weird or embarrassing, because she works for this theater, like this local theater, or used to. She's retired now, but she used to work for this local theater, and she's like, yeah, they're putting on a show, like not this week, but next week, like if you want to go. And I was thinking about it, and the first thought was like, who would I even go with? And then I was like, I don't actually need to go with anyone. I can just go see a play by myself, and that could be fun for me. And she was telling me that she goes to movies all the time by herself, and that it sort of saves her from feeling like she's responsible for somebody else's experience or like enjoyment that they get from the experience. And I was like, wow, that's so true. Because if you go by yourself, you can cater everything to what you like. But if you go with someone else, then like even subconsciously or even willingly, you sort of are just forced to make sure they're also having a good time, if you're a good person, frankly. And I was thinking about that, I was like, wow. And so I think that's gonna be my new journey, because I do go a lot of places alone, to be fair. Probably more than most still, just because I live alone, and it's like, I'm at the park right now by myself, talking to a camera. But I think I want to challenge myself to do it more, because sometimes I'll see that there's a movie in theaters and I'm like, wow, that'd be really cool to watch, but like, I would have no one to go with. And then I just don't go. And then I'm missing out on seeing that movie in theaters, and I have to wait till it comes out on a streaming service, and then it's just a different experience. And I'm like, wow, I should just go more places alone. So that's going to be a new thing. I think, generally speaking, everyone needs to be okay with feeling uncomfortable, embarrassed, weird, silly, stupid, whatever. I don't think these are bad things, because I think by doing those things, you just learn so much more. And I think if you're forcibly almost sheltering yourself from these experiences that seem scary or overwhelming or uncomfortable for any reason, you are like actively limiting and like debilitating your growth. Like, you're stunting it instantly by doing that. And it's like, we have so much time to do so many things. This is like Hope Core. I'm like, oh my gosh. But we have so much time on this earth. Like, genuinely so much time. Like, the girl that I was hanging out with, the woman that I was hanging out with, she's now line dancing. That's her new hobby. And it's like, we have our entire lives to do so many things. It's like, why would we actively just like put that aside, especially now when we're young? I assume you're young. My demographic is mostly young people. But like, while I'm young and while you're young and while we can like physically do these things, why would we be limiting that? What, because we feel a little happier when we're laying in bed at home? What, because it's a little scary to try something new? It's a little scary to go alone? Fuck that. I don't care, actually. I don't care. This isn't my new journey, okay? I don't think this was inspirational at all. I feel like everything I'm saying has been said before, but I'm just like sort of really feeling it. And after hanging out with her, I feel like my eyes were just like opened, and I was like, wow. Like, yeah. And she was telling me that she's making an active attempt to keep learning things, and I think that's so important, because also there is a literacy crisis, and it scares me. I'm scared of some of these kids and teenagers that can't read, write, or spell. I'm scared of it, truthfully. And she was telling me that since she's retired, she feels like she has to actively like do something with her mind. And so now she's like making sure that she's reading, she's trying new knitting things, and that it's always rewarding for her, because then she feels like she's learned something. And I'm like, yeah, that's how we should all be living our lives. Like, yeah, I'm sure it wasn't easy for her when she was doing this like difficult knitting experience that she was telling me about. I'm sure it wasn't easy in the beginning, and it was a little like daunting and scary. But then after she did it, she learned something new, and she got to like be comfortable knowing that she has new knowledge and new experience. And I'm like, I think that's the entire point of living. If you're like, what's the point? I feel like the point is to experience and to learn and to grow. And I think so many of us are just like actively not doing it because we're scared. And I think that's a stupid excuse. Obviously, everyone has their own story, you know? I'm not gonna like yell at people that have agoraphobia and be like, get outside. No. But people with agoraphobia can still learn things, okay? You can learn knitting and be agoraphobic. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I just think a lot of people don't challenge themselves enough. I'm not saying that I'm like the one that does and you should all follow me and bow down. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying that I've been having these realizations like a lot, especially the past year. It's like, I honestly really like school. I'm not a great student, but I like that I can learn things, and I like come out of it like learning new things. I feel like I'm just repeating the same freaking words, dude. But I think it's important. I think reading is also important. I think a lot of people don't do that. I don't think you have to make it, like, I don't think it has to be the most enjoyable thing for everyone. It could be a little uncomfortable, but dare I say that's the point, all right? Sometimes I read a book and I'm like, this isn't my favorite thing. And if reading is for enjoyment for you, put the book down, move on, do something else. But I think sometimes it's important to just read critically, just to learn something. And I'm being looked at. And I'm being judged a little bit, but hey, the whole point of this is that it's okay to be freaking embarrassed, yo. I need to get up though, because I've been sitting on the ground for 15 minutes and my butt hurts, truthfully. But thanks for listening, guys. I don't know if this made any sense. Do I seem like manic? Maybe I do, but I kind of really want to go on the swings. That's the thing, is you can learn new things and still go back to your old roots. I've been feeling really nostalgic recently and really like wanting to be in touch with my childhood. And one of those things for me, my butt is gonna be so wet. It's so true, it's so wet. One of those things for me is going to the freaking park, because there's actual children here now. Okay, I can't play at the park when there's children. Fuck, I'm actually really sad. That is my one thing. So going to the park is all fine and dandy until there's children there, because unfortunately I am like a grown adult still, and it is a little weird, especially if I'm by myself. But my new thing has been going to the park more if no one's there, because otherwise I'm really embarrassed. But like, it's so fun to just be swinging or like climbing around. Like, dude, the days when park was the only activity, the only thing you had to do in the day was just go to the park, they were peak. And it's like, why can't it still be that way? I think it can't be the only thing I do in a day, but I can squeeze it in my schedule. Anyways, I don't really know what I'm saying. I gotta keep walking home. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope this provided some clarity. Maybe it was a little bit motivational, maybe not. Maybe you're looking at me and you're like, Sienna, you need to like get a job. To that I would say I have two, so I don't know. Maybe you need to get a job. Oh no, I sound like James Charles. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna stop talking. Bye guys, thanks for watching.